Hey yo, what is going on everybody? Depraved Slasher, and we are back with another music reaction. So, for those of you wondering who NemRaps is, so a few months ago, Crypt came out with the YouTube Cypher 2, and one of my favorite people on that Cypher that was new to me was NemRaps. NemRaps, judging by the way he rapped, was very more nerdcore hip-hop, which is heavy, leaning heavily on the nerd side of things, comics, video games, things like that. Like he had this this whole bar, if I remember correctly, in the Crypt YouTube Cypher Volume 2 that says something about using the force to jerk it so you're fucking yourself or something like that. And dude, I lost my shit. I was like, dude, I really like this guy. And ever since then, I've been like, man, I really need to get to some NemRaps. Well, finally we're here. We're checking out NemRaps. I'm hoping y'all enjoy this. I'm hoping some NemRaps fans come and enjoy what I've got to see. Now, this is a much older NemRaps one. I was going to do video game comic book character one, but I seen he had a top 10 scariest video games raps. So I'm super stoked to check this out. I listened to like the first 15 seconds. Like I do know the first video game he talks about is Outlast, but again, I'm just excited to see what he has to say and how he's going to rap talking about horror video games. Like I am super stoked for this. And like I said, this is a much older video. It came out a few years ago. So there's not going to be a lot of newer video games mentioned here. But over and above all, man, I hope NemRaps puts out more music soon. More new music. I rung the bell on his channel just so I can get updates when he drops a new music video. As per the usual, guys, before we jump into this, be sure to check the description below. I think I already did that. Never mind. But yeah, hey, let's go ahead and jump into this. Super stoked. Super stoked. This is NemRaps Top 10 Scariest Video Games. We're going to slash it up. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about these because I am a gamer, which is another reason I'm super stoked to check this out. So let's go ahead and do this. Can you do top 10 scariest games all time?
The top 10 scariest video games
Ooh, I like the beat.
of all time.
Yeah. Outlast, the first-person survival horror. Woo. Watch your step, don't get cornered, you're a goner. Defiantly climb this dilapidated asylum and try to hide from giant decapitating Goliaths.
Ooh, I love the wordplay. For those of you that didn't know, I actually streamed Outlast not too long ago. It was the first time I'd ever played Outlast. Now, I don't consider the game itself scary. There were one or two really solid jump scares in the beginning, and the rest of it was more just running for your fucking life and hoping you don't get caught. So I guess it just depends on what you determine as scary as personally to you. But it was a good game in my opinion. It's something I wouldn't play a lot of because I'm not typically the type of person that likes to play those games where a lot of your gameplay is just running and hiding. I mean, I love my horror games, but I like at least the horror games where there's a way to fight back. Like a perfect example for me, and I'm hoping it's on this list. It's another reason I'm watching this. I'm hoping Fatal Frame is on this list. Fatal Frame is my favorite horror game all time, even though I've never beat it. Because them broke neck ghosts, I got 2 of them in this really small room, and I couldn't get out unless I killed both of them, and they were a pain in the... Anyways, we'll get into that another time. But no, this game is a really good game, and I implore so many of you guys, if you guys have a chance to play Outlast. Very good game.
FBAR, supernatural chaos. Forget the safeguards, please drop the freaking napalm.
For those of you that don't know, I had a video series for this game that I was running not too long ago before I stopped doing gaming videos on my channel just because nobody was watching them. But I did enjoy how far I had gotten. I'd actually gotten further this time than I think I ever did when I tried to play it on console many years ago when it first came out. But nah, I'm loving the list so far. And his rhyme schemes are dope.
BAR, supernatural chaos. Forget the safeguards, please drop the freaking napalm. Say hello to Alma, this faceless young demon, so ominously creepy enough to keep you from sleeping.
Alma is creepy as fuck, dude, and she pops up out of nowhere, and I mean nowhere.
Speaking of being faceless, slender the
Not a
8
big fan of this
pages.
game.
Running through this wooded location make you say, goodness gracious. The basis of this minimalistic game is to outrace this tenacious creature, reminiscent of escaping Jason. Fatal Frame 2, Crimson.
Ooh, he's got something Fatal Frame on here, so I can't be mad. I've never played Fatal Frame 2 because I never beat 1, and I didn't want to play 2 until I beat 1, even though I know it's technically a prequel. But yeah, glad he got some sort of Fatal Frame on here, dude. Much love for that. Much love for that.
And butterfly. This is not your average bedtime lullaby. Twin sisters trapped inside the spirit village. This psycho thriller is sick and twisted from begin to finish.
I love the
System
rhyme
Shock
scheme.
2.
Never
The
played
starship
System
is
Shock.
creepy. Once I popped in the CD, the hybrids gave me the heebie-jeebies. Condemned criminal origins had me panicking.
played that
Standing
either.
in a dark room with randomly moving mannequins.
I've seen people play that, though, and if you're afraid of mannequins, dude, apparently that part is really fucking freaky. I really want Joy to play it if she's never played it. For those of you that don't know, guys, go look up Joyful Death on Twitter. Not Twitter. My bad. Go look up Joyful Death on Twitch. She used to be a YouTube streamer. She's now exclusively on Twitch. Much love for my Reaper fam. And I definitely advise going and checking her out. She streams at nights, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Great person and really fun to watch play games. Plays a lot of horror, and it's really fun to watch her stream. I'm just saying.
Next up is Amnesia, The Dark Descent.
Okay, so Amnesia, I have a problem with Amnesia. Again, it's that formula of not really being able to fight back where you got to run and hide from things. It definitely has a very creepy atmosphere and does make you very tense while playing it. But at the same time, like, I'm also still not a very big fan of games that drop you in without really much story and you have to wander around to figure out what's going on. I at least like a beginning to the story that kind of pushes you in the direction you're supposed to go. And this game, literally, it's like they just drop you in the middle of this fucking castle and you're just wandering around trying to figure out why you're there. It's the reason why it's named Amnesia. You don't know shit. You don't remember shit. But I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea.
Avoiding monsters and solving puzzles in a void of darkness. Distant voices hearken for you to roam the castle. Prepare to battle hideous ghouls and revolting rascals. Dead Space hit the scene in 2008, considered one of the most scariest games without a debate. Isaac the engineer, plasma cutting the necromorphs. Cut their limbs off, now you're fighting a legless corpse.
Now, I actually personally disagree with considering Dead Space scary to me. First off, I'm personally just not a big fan of sci-fi horror. I'm definitely way more into supernatural horror. As a matter of fact, like when I talk about horror movies, like I will always acknowledge like the movie series Alien as one of the greats, but I'm personally not a big fan. Again, I'm just not a sci-fi horror fan. I mean, there's always an exception to the rule because like I like Predator, which is sci-fi-ish. Or it is sci-fi horror. It's just not really horror. I don't know how you'd consider it. But nah, it's my problem with Dead Space 1. I've only played the only Dead Space I actually fully completed was Dead Space 3, and the only reason I played it was because it was co-op, and I played it with my best friend who played through the entire series. So he definitely knew more of the story in 3 that was going on than I did. He wasn't a very big fan of it. I actually really enjoyed it. Obviously, people that are Dead Space fans as a whole really didn't enjoy Dead Space 3. But my problem with Dead Space is a lot of people find it to be scary because of a lot of the situations where, like, for instance, you'll be walking down a hall and a monster, one of the monsters in the game, will drop out of a vent above you or from out behind you, and it'll just start attacking you from behind. You'll hear it drop. And a lot of people find little things like that to be extremely scary. Except when I was playing it, I found it to be more annoying because like you're just going down this hallway and then all of a sudden it's just like it felt like just an excuse to throw another monster at you, which I don't know. It didn't feel scary to me. It just felt more annoying than anything. But I will say the story overall of Dead Space is actually really good. I have gone through and watched videos recapping the story, and I kind of wish I would have actually played through the other 2 games just to get the story itself. But again. And that's just talking about the video game side of things. Nem is killing this shit, dude. NemRaps is killing this shit, dude. I love the wordplay and how he's just putting everything together. Just fucking amazing.
Resident Evil, jump scares all day. Rabbit dogs jumping through the windows in the hallway. Remember the zombie that turned and gave you that lifeless stare? Other horror games just cannot quite compare.
Silent Hill 2 is number one. I can see that. I can agree with that. Not for me personally, but I can definitely see why that's on people's number ones. Resident Evil 1. Now, obviously, this was written, like I said, a long time ago when he put this out. I think it was 2014. I could be wrong. But, so Resident Evil as a series for me, I love the Resident Evil series. Fun fact, I've only beaten 2 Resident Evil games. But I've watched literally every other Resident Evil game get beaten. My best friend, who I played that other game with, I couldn't do the tank controls. I had a really hard time playing Resident Evil because of them. But I watched him play through and beat literally the entire series. I played 5 and 6 with him, which are 2 of the ones that I actually have beaten, which obviously are more action-ish than horror-ish. Personally, my favorite Resident Evil is Code Veronica, but I don't find Resident Evil scary, and here's why. As a kid, when I was younger, I played Resident Evil for the first time when I was like 9 or 10. You gotta understand, I'm a fan of horror. I've been growing up with horror. And the very first thing I thought, in a much more vulgar term that I'm going to use a much more vulgar term, but in my mind when I was playing it, you go through that whole, first off, really bad intro cutscene, because I played the original Resident Evil, like, before they remastered it. But you get into the mansion, you go through the opening dialogue, and I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm just going to turn around and leave the mansion. So I turned around and went to go walk out the door, and they do the whole cinematic like they do throughout the rest of the game where you're opening doors, and then all of a sudden some dogs bust through, and you like have to fucking slam the door, and you're trying to close it to keep them from getting in, and it scared the ever-loving shit out of me. But literally, that one moment literally made me realize I have to expect something around every single turn. And you should never be like that with horror games, because that's what keeps you from getting scared and getting you that rush. And it can actually kind of drag some video games down because of having that feeling of like, there's always going to be something. So like when the hallway came and you ran through the first time, because like the first time you went through that hallway where the dogs jump through, nothing happens. It's when you come back through that they jump through. And literally the first time I ran through, I was like, man, there's going to be probably some dogs jump through that window. Like I literally thought that, but they didn't. So I was like, all right. So then as I came back through the door and I was coming back down the hall, I was like, no, it's definitely going to happen this time. And sure shit, they jumped out. I killed them, moved on. It's just one of those things, man. Like, that's why I love supernatural horror more, because ghosts are way more unpredictable on where they can show up. But still love Resident Evil as a series. Code Veronica is still my favorite in the series. But I actually think the scariest one, the only one that's ever actually scared me since the first one, was actually Resident Evil 7. Scared the ever-loving shit out of me a couple times. They did really good with that game. Let's hear him talk about Silent Hill, another game I haven't actually played, but I understand people's love for it.
It was close, but Silent Hill 2 is the best. The introduction of the menacing pyramid head.
Right.
James Sunderland looking for his dead wife. Wandering the streets, beating creatures with a lead pipe. Running through apartments, dodging hideous beings. It made my heart skip. Watching all these sinister scenes through my controller at the screen. I was never the same. That's why this is the top of the list of the scariest games.
Yo, damn, killed it. I love how he photoshopped his face in the Captain America's costume. Yo, Nem, bro, that was fucking amazing. You did such an amazing job there. I know you were on the Crypt Cypher, and you've done a couple things. I can sit over here now and tell you I'm probably will not react to your Old Town Road remix. I hate that song. I'm sorry, man. But I do want to check out some more of your other stuff, especially your more nerdcore stuff. Like, I think the next one I might do, unless somebody else requests something different. I'm thinking about checking the one I think came out right after this, because I listened to, like, the first 10 seconds of it as well, which was, like, focusing on like 50 Marvel villains, which the villains are what make me such a fan of Marvel over DC. I just think the villains in Marvel are just so much more entertaining, and so much more colorful. And I don't know, there's just something about Marvel that that fucking captures me. Still got love for DC though. But regardless, I would like, just to answer your question here, I don't know if you still do top 10 raps, but I would love to see you go on and do something like, I would either like to see you update the horror game, because I mean, it's been some years since this came out, and I kind of wonder if anything would have changed since then, because there's been a lot of games to be focused. Like, my top 10 horror games obviously would be much different than yours. We'd have a couple of similarities there. Different choices for games for sure. Like, you have Resident Evil 1, I'd have had Code Veronica on there for my Resident Evil pick. Or actually, now it'd probably be 7, because like I said, 7 is the only one that scared me since 1. But nah, dude, great job. I would like to, like I said, either see top 10 of that, or maybe a... like I said, you have 50 Marvel villains, but I'd like to see maybe a top 10 list, a top 10 wrap of just your favorite villains in media. And what I mean by that, like, I can sit here and tell you, like, my top 3 villains of all time spread across comics, games, and stuff like that. Maybe my top 4 would be, like, Carnage would be number 1, Joker would be number 2, Kefka from Final Fantasy would be number 3, and Negan from Walking Dead would be number 4. Would just be, like, my top 4. But, yeah, I would love to see you rap about just your top 10 villains from all of media, like, all of fiction media. But yeah, again, bro, great fucking job. But we're gonna end this reaction here, guys. If you guys like the video, be sure to slash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Comment down below, what did you think of NemRaps' top 10 scariest video games? Also, be sure to comment down below if there's anything else you guys want to see me react to from, like, NemRaps or anybody else. Again, I keep a list here as you guys request things. I write it down. We get to it when we can get to it. We got a lot of stuff coming out over the next few days, because I would like to try and get a lot of this list caught up, because a lot of this stuff would actually already be out of the way if I would have just kept up with it, because we've had some days where I've only released like 1 or 2 reactions just because I wasn't feeling good or wasn't feeling it. But we're feeling it today. We're going to knock out, hopefully, all 6 of these that I've recorded today will come out today. I'm going to try and record 6 for tomorrow for Thanksgiving. I got something special planned for Thanksgiving. At least 2 or 3 videos that I'm going to do for sure. Also, be sure to check the description below for my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Discord, and my BitChute, as well as the original link to this video. Guys, go to NemRaps channel, leave a like, leave a sub, show some love, do what we do. Also, be sure, again, to check the description below for the Vibe Discord link. Be sure to join the Vibe Discord, where artists and reactors join up to help support each other and give fans a chance to talk to us when we get, when we get an open opportunity to be in there, and things of that nature. Also, be sure to subscribe to the Vibe Discord YouTube channel. Amazing content coming out of that way for you guys very soon. And as always, I love y'all. Thank y'all for watching, and I cannot wait to see you depraved people later. Peace.